And we kick off this evening with a look at the cinema.
I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema.
It's beautiful, beautiful cinema.
Cinema history come to life.
I found my solace in the small cinema I went to every Thursday night.
I'm a professor of cinema.
I go to the cinema for the stories.
There was no competition between the cinema and seminar.
I mean, it's not within the realm of conventional cinema.
And now,
here's Space and Johnson
with a cinema review.
It is Monday, December 22nd, 2025, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Cinemaster's Reviews. Still fighting a little bit of a cold, so if you hear a little bit of hoarseness in my throat, that is the reason why. But thank you all for joining me. Last review of the year, after which I'm going to take a 2-week break to celebrate the holidays. Hope you all do as well. But we got a pretty big show this week. We're going to be reviewing one of the biggest, potentially one of the biggest movies of the year, as well as another pretty big movie. I say we jump right into the show with our first review of the night, Avatar: Fire and Ash. This is the third film in the Avatar franchise. All three of them have been directed by James Cameron. We are once again on the planet of Pandora, following the lead character, Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington, and his wife, Neytiri, played by Zoe Saldana. This one picks up right where the second movie left off, where Jake and Neytiri were able to side with the Metkayina, who are the water tribe on the planet of Na'vi, and they were able to fight off the human dwellers that were trying to harvest essentially the blood of the whales on Pandora, because the blood allows humans to essentially be immortal. After they were able to essentially ward off the humans, it takes place very soon after Way of Water. We essentially learn, hey, the humans are probably going to be coming back. Jake, still mourning the loss of his oldest son, decides that he is going to take Spider, the human adopted son of Miles Quaritch. I realize there was a lot of stuff in this. Miles Quaritch is, of course, the villain of these Avatar movies, played by Stephen Lang, and he is going to transport them back to the Sky People, and essentially from Neytiri's original tribe. But while transporting him, the human Jake ends up getting attacked by this different group of Na'vi called the Mongquang, led by Varang, played by Una Chaplin. I realize I'm saying a lot of different terms. Please stay with me. And we once again are in a big conflict between not only our Jake and the Na'vi now fighting the humans, but we are now fighting a violent new Na'vi tribe called the Mongquang. I have made it no secret, I am a big fan of the Avatar films. I just think James Cameron just has such a firm grasp on how to make just epic, classic, like, in a way, this might sound like an over-exaggeration, but what seems like epic biblical filmmaking, and put it into like a big sci-fi setting. No one is able to do that like James Cameron, where you have these huge sweeping locations, this setting that we have never seen before. It honestly feels like we are in like kind of like the mind of like a 16-year-old, where like James Cameron has admitted that Pandora was an idea that he came up with when he was in high school, of just like what is the coolest planet, and just how you see all these different like creatures. And I think the number one selling point of these films is always how much of a big technical spectacle it is. And once again, that is easily the number one biggest selling point with this film. The technology, once again, there is no one making films at a scale or at a like level of visual precision like James Cameron. There was a reason why Avatar: The Way of Water took 13 years to come out, because he wanted to make sure everything looked perfect. An overuse of CGI can often make things look fake. That is absolutely not the case here. because James Cameron is able to just take the time to really fine tune all the different CG, whether it's the water, whether it's the different alien monsters, whether it's the like volcano setting that we go to in this movie, which looks incredible. James Cameron just knows how to make these movies look beautiful and look absolutely pristine. It feels redundant saying that, but I need to sell this movie on that. I will say, I think the one slightly disappointing thing about this movie is this is the first Avatar movie where while I was watching, I had the realization of, oh, I've kind of seen this before. With that first one, we obviously had never seen an Avatar movie before. So we are coming into this entirely new world crafted by James Cameron. We see these humans that are able to go into these alien bodies and are able to inhabit this world. And we are introduced to this religion of the Na'vi people, to this culture. And we really just sort of fell in love with this world. Avatar: The Way of Water comes out 13 years later. We see all these different new areas. We go into this entirely new area, Pandora, where it's now much more where we are introduced to culture that lives towards the ocean, that have like these giant fins that live with these whales, and we see these new sort of things. This one, aside from the Mongquang tribe, and aside from the like big volcanoes we go to, there isn't really a lot of new stuff. And I think there is something very interesting where James Cameron wanted Way of Water and Fire and Ash to essentially be one big story, but he decided to cut it down into two. Now, I think it works a lot better as two films than a lot of other part one, part twos. But I do think there is something to be said that, hey, this was filmed at the exact same time as Way of Water. This is not going to be feeling as fresh as Way of Water or the first Avatar. So while it's not necessarily a bad thing to say, oh, I've seen this before. This is the first time that I've said that about an Avatar film, so it's just a feeling that took me a little bit getting used to, of like, oh, this is kind of like the culmination of what we've been seeing in Avatar 2 and 3, specifically with Avatar: Way of Water. I do still think Avatar: Way of Water is probably my favorite of these movies. This one just sort of feels like it's sort of fine-tuning the ideas that Way of Water set up. With the, for example, the climax of this movie literally is in the exact same location as the climax of Way of Water. Just something to think about. Something I will say this movie does do really well is, once again, it makes you really appreciate the characters, because each character is given something to do. Jake, once again, is going through kind of a crisis of faith of he wants to protect all of the Metkayina, but also he lost his son in the first movie. So he's really like struggling there. Neytiri, who is admittedly kind of sidelined a little bit in Way of Water, is given a lot to do, because she comes to the realization of, hey, her son died while she was trying to protect Spider, who is not her biological son. So now she has like this sort of like deep hatred for Spider. Spider, for example, honestly, a lot of the movie centers on him. He is, of course, the only major human that doesn't have a way to go into an avatar body, so he has to once again deal with all the struggles of he can't breathe the air of Pandora, so he always has to make sure he's wearing a mask, or does he? A lot of the movie gets into that. The origins of Kiri from the last film. Kiri is, of course, the daughter of one of Jake's friends from the first film. We finally get to learn her origins and why why no one really knows who her dad really was. Miles Quaritch, honestly, I do think Miles Quaritch is the best character in the Avatar movies. One, Stephen Lang knows exactly the type of movie he's trying to be in. He is absolutely hamming it up in this film. He's playing this big, macho, gruff soldier in the best way possible. But honestly, Miles Quaritch goes in a lot of unique ways where, like, the character of Miles Quaritch, he doesn't want to act like he really cares about Spider, but we know that he does, because Spider is his last like sort of like chain to the human world, because this version of Miles Quaritch is only in his avatar body now, just like Jake Sully. And without spoiling too much, there are a lot of different unique ways that Quaritch goes. He eventually allies himself with Varang, and they sort of have like this sort of like really like hardcore romance, and this is really cool stuff. Varang, again, the other main villain, played by Una Chaplin, amazing in this film. Once again, she is playing these types of characters in this full-on motion capture, in this like where we get to be have like really big performances. Not every actor can do it. Una Chaplin does it very, very well. If you watch Game of Thrones, she was Talisa Stark, the woman that Robb Stark married and ended up getting killed at the Red Wedding. But no, Una Chaplin, she brings so much energy to this role. She plays in a very like feral state, always hissing, saying all of her lines like, "We do not drink from the breast of weakness." Just in amazing performances from her. Honestly, I wanted more of Varang. She is all over the marketing of this movie, and you might think that she is in it more than you would think. But the movie knows how to use her very well. And without spoiling too much, I do think later movies, if we do get an Avatar 4, we're probably going to be getting a little bit more of her and a little bit more of other and a little bit more Korich. So yeah, very, very fun addition to these movies was Varang and the Mongquang tribe. If I could say one other slight negative with this movie, this was the first Avatar movie where all of them are long. Like these are not short movies by any means. The first Avatar is around 2 hours 45 minutes. Both Avatar: Way of Water and Fire and Ash are over 3 hours. This was the first one where I was definitely like, okay, I was feeling the length a little bit at points. I think going into the third act, there was just this line this character had of, well, what are the humans planning on doing? Well, they're going to be planning on attacking the big whale gathering a day after tomorrow. And at that point, I thought the movie was starting to wrap up and everything that was going on. And then hearing that the big climax is happening a day after tomorrow in the film, I just sort of rolled my eyes like, Christ, we still have this amount of film length going. But yeah, like other than that, like there were only a couple times when I definitely did start to feel a little bit of the length going towards the film, that where it did start to feel a bit of a shorter watch. But I think James Cameron just does such a good job making you feel like you were a participant in this world that even though it is a 3-hour movie, it doesn't bother you too much. And the final climax of this film, once again, James Cameron knows how to do action. When characters are firing guns, when explosions are happening, you truly feel like you are right there. I saw this movie in 3D. The IMAX 3D is so well done. I've seen a lot of people take criticism with the high frame rate of this movie and Way of Water. I personally think it's very, very well done, just because James Cameron knows how to not use high frame rate the entire movie, like the first Hobbit movie, or like some of Ang Lee's films did that, and that was very aggravating. This one, it really only does it in the action scenes, and it makes the action scenes look so unbelievably slick. So I personally really liked it, but I totally get why the high frame rate might put off some people. But yeah, honestly, like going into this movie, I was thinking like just a little bit of like backstory. Like James Cameron is one of my favorite filmmakers, and ever since I've been alive, I have never been alive in a time where James Cameron made a non-Avatar movie. Titanic actually came out a couple of weeks before I was born. But yeah, like Avatar came out when I was 12. Avatar: Way of Water came out when I was 24, and now Avatar: Fire and Ash is coming out when I was 27. So James Cameron, he takes these big breaks between these movies, and I've never got to see like what is a non-Avatar James Cameron movie like in theater. So going to this movie, I was kind of like, okay, you know what, I would be down for another Avatar movie after this, but like maybe after this he might go and do another film. I know he's been saying he wants to do a movie about Hiroshima, but honestly, after Fire and Ash, I'm like, nah, I really do want an Avatar 4. I do really, really enjoy these movies. And there really is just no other movies like this, blockbuster filmmaking or otherwise. And I think, and I'm honestly very grateful that we have these movies to go see. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, I'm going to give it a very good 8.5 out of 10. I do personally think this is the weakest of the 3 Avatar movies. I think that just comes from the fact that it just doesn't feel as fresh as those other movies and doesn't give you like these movies are mainly for spectacles and you want to see stuff new, and this one doesn't entirely give you all of that, but what it does give you, it gives you more reasons to love these characters. I think one of the biggest lies in film criticism nowadays is that no one cares about the characters in Avatar. I really, really care about these characters, and this is an incredible world, and I'm excited to see what happens next in it. I would highly recommend seeing this in theaters. I really think this like if there are movies that are just so tailor-made for the theatrical experience, it is these Avatar movies, and I would highly recommend you do go check it out in the biggest screen you can, and check it out in IMAX 3D if that is available to you. I just think we jump right into the second review of the night, that being The Housemaid, directed by Paul Feig. You might recognize that name as being the director behind Bridesmaids, The Heat, the 2016 Ghostbusters. The Housemaid is based off a novel by Frida McFadden. This film stars Sydney Sweeney as Millie. She is a desperate for work woman who is trying to get a job, who has a little bit of a dark past as we start to learn. She is on parole for something that happened in her past. We don't really know that off the bat. And she gets an interview with a wealthy family, the Winchesters. She gets an interview from Nina Winchester, played by Amanda Seyfried. And after a successful interview, she hires her on the spot, and she is hired to be a live-in nanny at their mansion and to watch Nina and her husband's kid. I did not write the kid's name down, so I'm going to look that up real quick. And Nina, her kid's name is Cecilia, and her and their husband Andrew. But as Millie is watching the house, she slowly starts to realize not everything is quite as it seems. Nina has many episodes where she seems to have these major outbursts. She starts hearing from Nina's friends that Nina has had a lot of psychological issues in the past, and Andrew has stayed with her to keep their family together. And without spoiling too much, more stuff starts going down, and the rabbit hole starts getting very, very deep. I will admit, this definitely does feel like a trashy mystery film that you would see in the 90s, whether it's like Single White Female or The Hand That Rocks the Cradle or First Wives Club, or even like Fatal Attraction and Gone Girl might be like the best versions of these. But it definitely does have that like feel of like a fun erotic thriller in a way. But I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think the movie knows what it's trying to be, and it's not trying to jump ahead forward. It's not trying to jump at things that it can't quite handle. It knows it's trying to be a trashy mystery thriller film, and it is able to do that very, very well. Sydney Sweeney is an actress that I know she's had a lot of like negative press recently. She's an actress that I do think when she is in the right role, she can be very good. And I think this movie is kind of really well suited for her, with this part where this is a character that has a dark past, so she's playing a lot of things so she's playing a lot of her emotions very reserved, trying not to show why exactly she had a run with the law back then. She does a really good job of acting confused and not understanding what's going on when things start happening. But the person that absolutely steals the show in this movie is Amanda Seyfried. She's playing a character that is able to change her emotions just on a hat, where like when she first meets Millie, she's so nice. She has these big wide eyes. She speaks with like this big smile, and then like within the next scene, she's cussing Millie out. She's yelling. She's like breaking pots. And Amanda Seyfried is able to play this part so well. She's an actress that I haven't seen a lot from her recently. She's having a bit of a renaissance. I know she won an Emmy a few years earlier. I know she has The Testament of Anne Lee coming out this year, but she plays this role really, really well as this villainous character. And this movie, I don't think I would have been quite as entertained with the movie if it wasn't for her. But every time she is on screen, when you have Sweeney just getting like so terrified of her, I was really, really entertained. And without saying too much about his performance, Brandon Sklenar, who plays Andrew, he's an actor I saw earlier this year in Drop. He was really good in that. Just a super charming actor, and I think the movie absolutely knows that and is able to weaponize that in a really, really unique way. Again, I don't want to spoil where this movie goes in its second half, but it ends up using him very well, and you get this character that, like, he seems very tired because when Nina first hires Millie, you get the vibe that she didn't talk to him at all about this, and he seems very, very annoyed at it. But he's like, okay, I'm going to support my wife. She's going through something. I want to be there for her. And just everything that he goes through is really, really great. He has chemistry with both Seyfried and Sweeney. And Brandon Sklenar is an actor Brandon Sklenar is an actor that I would like to see more of. I will say, when you're watching this movie, you definitely feel like you're not getting all of the plot points out. Like you definitely feel like we are going towards a big twist, and I do think it is fairly easy to see the twist coming with all the keys that this movie reveals. Honestly, like, it sets up something that, like, oh, the movie's clearly presenting something. And with the way it's presenting of everything that's going on, you are able to deduce that, okay, if it's trying to pull the wool over my eyes, there's really only one result that we could be going towards. And it does suck when you do have a mystery film where you are able to see where the movie ends up going towards the end. So that was admittedly kind of disappointing. One trope that I think I'm just kind of getting a little bit tired of is like the mysterious groundskeeper who also works on this big estate, just staring at the main character that just started working there and just, like, wants to say something but can't. Like, I'm like, it just seems like such a cheesy trope nowadays that I would be willing to put this trope to bed if we can, but that's just me. This movie gets a lot bloodier than I was expecting, again, without spoiling what happens towards the end. Characters start dying, characters start attacking each other. Ends up getting really, really messy and ends up, like, really going for the throat, and I really, really enjoyed that. This movie does feel subdued towards the beginning, but towards the end it gets really, really over the top. I think the actors and the directors really knew what they were trying to do, and honestly, it's just fun to see a cool thriller of this quality in theaters like this with this sort of, like, prestige. Not that it's getting, like, awards prestige by any means, but just, like, it is presented on this scale. I know this is part of it. This book is part of a franchise, and I know they said they want to make a second and third movie. I'd be interested to see where this goes. This movie has a fairly complete ending, but I would not be opposed to getting another one of these. But to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Again, I don't think this is, like, an amazing thriller, but I think for what it is, I think you get some good performance. I think you get some tense, fun mystery elements, and a third act climax that goes really, really crazy. I would recommend you go see it in theaters. I think this movie is probably the most fun if you see it with a full crowd. But if you end up catching it on streaming, I think it would also be a really, really fun streaming watch. But thank you all for watching. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the video store. It helps grow our channel a lot. I am taking a 2-week break. I'm going to be next show will be in 2026. So I'm very excited to talk with you guys about movies when we do come back. Thank you all for watching this year. This has been a really, really fun year. And as always, to cap it off one more time in 2025, watch more movies.
And the award for most vapid film review of the century goes to...
Okay, movie review. Okay, I thought it was beauty.
And he's now in cinema hell, where one day we'll all be reunited.
This is me at the Regal Cinema crying as I did through much of the film.